Daoud,
Yes.
welcome to Jazzahead 2024. Great to have you here
Thank you.
with us with Stingray DJAZZ. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with the start. You know, the origins of your stage name as well. Like, can you share with us the significance behind Daoud and what it means to you personally?
The Daoud is not a very popular Arabic name, which means beloved, like well loved. We're surrounded by love, or something similar to this. And it was first a bit of a sarcastic thing because I always felt like a bit of an outcast. So to find a name that went to the opposite of that, I thought that was funny a long time ago. And then I kept it. And then people started calling me that.
Gotta embrace it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, fantastic. And you know,
Lots of fans here.
Yeah,
It's
no, they're
insane.
not fans. They're just great, amazing musicians that I went to school with, and they're all here, which is super exciting.
peers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Daoud, music careers are full of challenges and triumphs and what have been some of your
Challenges, yes. Triumphs, not yet, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they'll
Being
come,
here
they'll
with
come.
you is my
Thank
first
you.
real triumph.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for that.
There you go. What have been some of the most significant obstacles, maybe creative obstacles that you had to overcome in your journey as a jazz musician?
I think my main obstacle in life in general is myself. Like I'm not a traditionally positive person. I know it's not a very popular thing to admit, but I get real bummed out. I get real depressed about developing a project, working on music, feeling like it's not good enough, I think that's something that a lot of people have. We don't, in the era of social media, we're not used to sharing the kind of bummed out kind of thing.
It's
And I try to
positivity
be
all the way, of course.
Yes, and I try to be like a bit more transparent because I don't want people to feel like everything's great all the time, because it's not. It's like it's a hard job. Obviously, I've had like physically difficult jobs before. I've not always been a musician, but yeah, being a musician is mentally very challenging. I think, especially when you're a band leader and you write your own music, you go in the studio. There's never any money, there's never any time, and everybody's like, not really interested. And you're like, why am I doing this?
Well, first thing that came to mind with me when reading your little profile in the booklet is you're doing it all, man. You're not just a musician. You are the composer. You are the one that writes. You are
The mixer.
The mixer. You are. Are you also in the marketing team of yourself?
I
or?
am the marketing team is
So-
me. I'm the one person marketing team.
This is actually a very much the whole creator economy example
that's
here at the
exactly
table.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of evolved in that way. It's moved towards this. I'm very lucky now that I'm really well surrounded. I now have a team around me that works for me, especially booking wise, and I have a management team. I have a publisher, but all those things happened the last few months. Before that, I did everything myself, which not the mixing. The mixing was done by my very good friend Vincent, who's going to be doing sound for us today, actually.
Fantastic.
At the showcase. I
Is
realized
there a
that
big difference in your way of approaching music when you have like the team surrounding you right now as opposed to, let's say, a few years ago?
not really. I think I like to know what's going on. I'm not like, I know some artists, they just want to think about the music. They don't want to have to deal with the business thing, the marketing thing. And I'm not like that, because I've figured out how to do it. I don't do it really well. I'm not like a great marketer or whatever, but I'm like, because I've learned how to do it, I want to know what's being done. Like,
Right.
I want to, so I'm aware of what my team does all the time, which is probably very hard for them because they feel like I'm always watching over them, but I'm not. I like to know what's going to happen before it happens.
I mean, in the end, it's you that carries the brand name.
Well, yeah, and also
So to say.
my thing is, when I work with other artists in the studio or whatever, I'm always like, whatever I feel about your project doesn't really matter. You're the one that's going to go on stage and you're going to have to do this. I'm not. Like, I'm just helping you. But like, and I feel this way with my team. I'm like, all the way up until I walk on stage, trying to keep in mind that I'm going to be the one defending it. So I need to be okay with everything that's been done. And I think reputation is very important, and like I want my team to always treat people wherever we play or whoever we work with, I want us to go the extra step of being nice, on time, friendly, and everything. And that's nothing like crazy, but it's just the minimum, and just doing that really, I believe, helps to develop as an artist, to be like just doing the bare minimum of being a nice guy or a nice team. I think a lot of people that work in the entertainment industry or music or whatever, they get a... Sorry, someone's making fun of me.
It's absolutely the fans, man.
That's
Definitely.
okay.
It's 100% the
sorry,
fans.
sorry, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to cut that out.
We won't.
This is embarrassing. I lost my train of thought. No, don't do it. He's filming me. Oh, my God.
This is a key part of the interview.
I'm so sorry. I'm ruining
no
this.
worries.
You're ruining this interview.
They're actually improving.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, just be a nice guy. Don't be a dick. Is what I'm saying.
You know what, Daoud? I
Don't be
get
a-
the
don't be
feeling
a-
that honesty and being honesty to others, but also to yourself. That's a key thing of what you're doing, right? That's
I think that's a key thing to being any kind of artist. I don't think people care to know what you want to pretend to be. I think people care to know who you are. And they'll hate it. Like, a lot of people are going to hate who you are. And some people are going to love it. And some people are going to love it enough that you get to play concerts sometimes, I think.
Talking about concerts.
Ooh, nice segue. Ooh, I
Yes.
like that. Oh, wow.
Is there a certain process that happens in your mind or the way you prepare before you enter the stage and perform?
Not really. So because I'm a trumpet player and it's a very physical instrument, especially for me, because I don't practice as much as I should. So it's always a bit of a struggle to play. I try to make sure that my breathing is okay, but usually I'm working up until the few minutes before I go on stage. I don't really have a process. I'm just thinking about everything because I'm used to doing stuff alone. I'm thinking about everything that I need to do and that other people need to do before we go on stage. I don't really get the time to be nervous. I get nervous sometimes with I just keep working and then I have to go and play. You know.
And talking about your performance in concerts, influences as well. Influences do shape us in profound ways. And who are the artists or experiences that have had the greatest impact on your music and your musical identity?
I think a lot of artists that have influenced me the most are like non-jazz artists, and concerts that have really transformed the way that I want to make music and that I want to play concerts are like, I don't know, I remember seeing James Blake, for instance, live in Rotterdam, and I was like, just my mind was blown. And I was like,
Two things can happen past that moment. You either get inspired or you
you
think,
quit.
I cannot do this.
You're
I
like,
cannot cope
I'm
with
done
this.
with music. Yeah, I mean, and I was like, it's completely changed the way that I wanted to do music. I was like, the way that I've been doing music is wrong. Just not empirically, but it's like, it's not aligned to who I am. So I have to figure out how I can get to this level of honesty and emotional honesty and intellectual honesty, how I get there with my music and with my shows and with I talk a lot on stage. I mean, you'll see later I say a lot of shit. Sorry, I keep swearing. I'm so sorry. I say a lot of I'm adding editing word. I talk a lot on stage. I say a lot of like really weird, awkward stuff. I make jokes. It can be a a challenge for audiences because they're like, is this guy serious or what's going on?
Let's just call this high entertainment value.
I don't know if it's high entertainment value. I think a lot of people get really awkward, and I'm like, and I don't mind being awkward because I'm an awkward guy. So I'm like, if I'm gonna be awkward, everybody has to feel awkward.
Yeah, well, that's
the price.
You can use that to your advantage, man.
I mean, I'm trying.
So I get a sense of spontaneity of your live shows. And
I think that's a jazz thing.
Ah, right.
You know?
So my next question is, how do you approach that spontaneity of the live shows compared to maybe that more controlled environment of your recordings, if you will?
Yeah, I just don't. So I spend a lot of time talking on stage, but I don't prepare my presentation. So all of the presentation that I do is always improvised and on the and it depends on how I'm feeling that day or that moment. Or if I'm nervous, I'm going to tell the audience that I'm nervous. Or if I'm like happy, I'm going to tell them that I'm happy. If I'm sad, I'm going to tell them that I'm sad. Now I'll try to find a funny way of doing it.
Keeping it a bit light.
Yeah,
but
also
clearing
like
the air, of course.
Just be. To me, this is very particular because people aren't here to have a good time. They're here to like do business, which is very different.
It's a professional environment.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
When people come to see you in concert, they've come out of their house, get a babysitter, spent $50 on concert tickets, and then another 20 on beer.
It's an investment.
It's a huge investment into having a good time. So they've already decided that they were going to have a good time. You just have to not ruin it for them. Your only job is to not ruin that. You know?
Well, that's one way to put it. Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
How do you feel that's going?
I think it's going okay. Some people complain because obviously my shows are a little different than what people expect from a jazz concert. And some people get disappointed, but most people get excited. Because they don't think that they're not used to seeing this music presented in such a way.
I do get the feeling that the audience that comes to your concert gets the 100% picture of you.
I try to be generous. You know,
right.
I try to make sure that they come out having felt something, and if what they've felt is I hate that guy, that's still a feeling. My job is done.
Hey, going back to that James Blake reference you just made, did something change after watching that, experiencing that?
Yeah, I've had a few of those gigs.
What changed?
I've seen a few of these concerts that have really changed the way. James Blake is just one example, but like, what changed is I also went through a few years of not playing music at all. I quit music for a few years. And I've been talking about this a lot to like friends that I haven't seen in a few years, obviously, at Jazzahead. And I quit music for almost 4 years. Didn't touch my trumpet, didn't do any music at all. I just started working in bars as a funeral assistant or whatever. I just did jobs, like shitty jobs. I mean, good jobs, but like, you know, and normal jobs anyway. And when I came back to music, I took this experience that I had seeing James Blake and all those things, and I was like, just do music in a way that's like, stop trying so hard. Don't stop making music that's trying so hard to be something that it's not. Just do music that you like, do it well, or not, or don't. You know, if you don't feel like it, just stop pretending that you're something you're not.
Would you say that you needed a bit of time off to just,
Definitely, 100%. The best thing I could have done for my musical mind, for my mental health, for my music career. I've never been. I'm more successful now than I ever was in my previous career as a musician.
That sounds like the perfect choice to make.
Yeah, it's great. I feel a lot better. I don't feel like I have to do it. You know, I feel like I do it because I want to do it, and some days I don't, and I just don't do it. This is a horrible interview because my answers are really, really complicated. But that's where I'm at now. I'm like,
no, I think it gets to a certain sense of, how things in life happen many times when you stop really searching in a way for it or really forcing things.
You stop trying so hard.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, wait, how about you just do your thing? And because you're so scared, especially as a student. You're really scared of people not liking you.
Yeah.
As a teenager and then as a young adult, you're like, I really hope that people are gonna like me, and that's not conducive to being a very honest, transparent, artistic figure, I think.
An honest creative, you know.
Yeah, and the day you go like, I don't. Sorry, I was about to swear again. I don't care if people like me or not. The day you do that, you start just doing stuff different.
Yeah.
So
It must be a big relief.
yeah, it's great. It's so much. It's so freeing,
well
and I
done.
think it applies to like any job, really, or anything that you do in life. The day you're like, you stop feeling like you really have to do this thing, because if you don't do this thing, you're not worth anything. The day you give that up is like,
Yeah.
so freeing.
Opens up.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You know, we're at Jazzahead.
Yeah.
Jazzahead 2024.
indeed.
And it's a major event for artists like yourself, of course. And how did you prepare for such an event? And how is it different in comparison to maybe your other regular gigs, so to say?
I did not prepare.
Yeah.
At all. And I don't really. Maybe it's bad for me. I shouldn't be saying this. I didn't prepare for this at all. This is not different to any other gig that I'll do, except that I know that people aren't here to have a good time. They're here to figure out if they want to buy my show or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a completely different vibe, but I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think that they're here to see what it's going to be the day of, if they buy the concert or if they want to book me or whatever. So I'm not going to try and do a showcase. I'm just going to do 30 minutes of my usual show. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think that gives the best reflection of what people can expect, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Do you feel
what
any
I do.
do you feel any different in regards that this audience is different than other gigs?
I don't care. It's going to be different for them.
Not
I mean,
for you.
like I said, people can decide to have a good time or not have a good time. I don't really play a role in that. I'm just going to do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might walk out. Some people might love it. Some people might hate it. It doesn't matter. As long as you're being honest with the music that you're making, if they don't like it, then they just don't like you, and that's okay. If they like it, then they like you, and that's great. There's nothing to lose by being like your everyday self at something like this.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about being here at the trade fair? And I mean, we've already seen that there's a lot of people you know dropping by. A lot of old friends from school you mentioned.
I'm really, really lucky that this year the kind of guest country is the Netherlands, and I went to school in Amsterdam.
Really?
So a lot of my friends, I went to the conservatory in Amsterdam.
Nice.
Big shout out to them. And a lot of my friends from school are here doing showcases and just hanging out, or like some of them don't do music anymore and they're bookers or managers, and I run into them and I haven't seen them in 10 years. So that's why you see me waving at people and I get really excited to see them, because I haven't seen them in 10 years. So yeah, it's really fun.
And we just talked about James Blake, of course, and a renowned electronic music artist. And your music is as well like a fusion, you know? It's
Yeah.
a fusion of electronic music
Yeah,
and
there's
jazz,
some electronic.
which isn't super common in a
Yeah,
way.
it's
And
becoming more and more common. for
maybe,
sure.
yeah. And how do you blend those genres to create your own distinctive sound?
I mean, this is an objectively bad answer that I'm going to give you. I don't blend anything. I don't try to do anything. I just write music, and
What comes?
yeah, whatever comes. It's like I'm really, and I understand that this is not the answer that people might seek when they ask that question, but I'm like, I just write a bunch of stuff and then I play it with my friends and then I do concerts with it. And then I go in the studio and I record it and then I put it out on a record and then I start over again.
Yeah.
This is so boring. This is such a boring answer.
I mean, full circle moments come in many different ways.
Yeah, I guess,
If
but
this
I
is
don't
what
know.
it is for you, then, you know, this is how you
Yeah.
operate. That's
I
all
don't
good.
really try to blend stuff. I write what I feel at the time, and like obviously the record that came out today actually I wrote 2 years ago. So I'm like a completely different person now.
Right.
Was it a long wait?
it was a very long wait. We had a record label that was on it, and then we decided to go without a record label, and then we had to find a distributor. We had to find everything. It was I learned a lot because I did everything myself at the time also, and like I learned a lot with the help of my musicians, obviously, and then I found management, publisher, everything. But yeah, it was 18 months between the recording and the release.
So how do you look back on what's on the album now?
Yeah, I'm happy it's out so that I can get on with it, you know?
Good.
You're always like, yeah, I just want to get back to work, you know?
Cool. Talking about your work and the creative process can be deeply personal. And is there a work of yours that holds a special place in your heart, and can you tell us why?
You mean a piece of music?
Maybe a piece of music with a certain story. Do you remember a certain place and a time where you were making?
I tell a lot of these really weird stories on stage explaining the songs, and most of them are not true. And I've oh no again. He's a great guy. And most of them are not true. I just make up stories, and I've started, and I'm not doing this to you. I'm being transparent and honest with you. Mm-hmm. I've started doing this thing where, like, when I do interviews, I'll just make up stories.
Right.
When people ask me a personal story about a song, and I'll just make something up.
Right.
As if it was the
Please
truth.
give it your best shot. Now.
And I don't know, but now I've
Doesn't
shown you my
matter,
hand. Now I can't make
totally
up a story.
it.
You know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's that's my little game to keep things interesting. But the things that feel the most special to me are whenever I feel like, because in my I'm in a band with my best friends. Like, some of my best friends are in my band, and the most special thing to me in the world, and it's gonna sound so cheesy, but is that I'm able this year and next year I'm able to build something that allows for my friends to have work, like consistent work, hanging out with their friends and making music, and that's, to me, that's always very special. So actually I haven't seen them today. They're supposed to arrive today, and I can't wait to see them because I'm so excited. I'm like, I could get emotional just talking about it, just because I'm like, it's the most important thing to me. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see them and to be like, hey, I brought you to Germany. Like, we got here, which is crazy for us.
That's amazing.
That's really amazing.
We're a 2-year-old band also. We started 2 years ago.
Great. And just going about your friends, having them in your band, can you elaborate a little bit more about that dynamic, like in terms of trust, musicality, and friendship while working?
I mean, it's both the greatest and the worst thing possible in the world, because it's like you get to work with some of your best friends, so you're always with people you love at work, which is great. But also, you have a relationship with them where you have to ask them to do very specific things, and you need them to do them. And when they don't, you're like, oh my God, I can't. And you're like, well,
I think there's a very thin line between being delighted that they're there and
and you have to make sure that you're also, and that's something that I'm working on, because I've been really hard on them the last year, just because I saw a very clear path to developing this project and getting it successful to a place where we have consistent work and we can play. And I've been really hard on them. And I know that. I'm trying to build something now where I'm more benevolent with them. I'm more like grateful to them, and I tell them that I'm grateful. That's what I'm trying to do now. That's my next step, to be like, to make sure that they know how grateful I am. Because I know I'm grateful, but if I don't tell them, they can't know.
Absolutely. And now we're here at Jazzahead, and it's a great showcase event with a bunch of your peers, as we've seen.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. And what are you hoping to achieve during this event, and why is it significant for you and the band?
Are you seeing business here, or is this actually slowly becoming a very pleasant reunion?
Oh, it's both. It's both, but I can't wait to be done with my showcase so that I can just hang out with my friends and have a good time. You know, I'm like, I understand that I have to do this, but and I should say that it's fun. It's not fun to do a showcase. It's horrible. It's a horrible experience. And I don't know if musicians that you've met today have told you this, but it's a horrible experience. If it's not for them, they're either lying or crazy. I can't wait to be done is the main thing.
You have to elaborate a bit more about why this is a horrible experience. 'Cause
Well,
you cannot leave us like this.
Right, because you're playing for people that are essentially judging whether or not you're worth 2,000 euros. Or
Clear.
3,000 or
Fair point.
1,500 or and are they going to put you in a 2-star or a 3-star hotel, and do you really need 2 cars to get here? Like, you know, it's not a real audience,
Clear.
you know? And I play music to play for real audiences. So this is a thing that I understand I have to do. I don't mind doing it, but it's not the fun part of being a musician.
It sounds like you are working today here. You are
I
actually
am, but I'm
working.
also really lucky that, once again, I work with some of my best friends, and I'm running into a lot of my old friends. So
That must be the sunny side of this whole story.
I'm having a great day.
Awesome.
Awesome, fantastic. Daoud, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and answering the questions with honesty. Really
I try,
appreciate
yeah.
this. We got one last question.
Yes.
Looking into the future, are there any upcoming projects that you're excited about, and things that you can share / plug?
Yeah,
for
I
us?
mean, my record just came out at midnight. So I have a whole record that's out with 10 songs on it. It's called Good Boy. I have a big release concert in Paris on the 1st of May at the New Morning. And yeah, I'm super excited to just see how this record's gonna live now that it's out in the world finally. And yeah, I can't wait to. We have a bunch of festivals this summer, and I can't wait to come and play in Germany, go and play in Spain. I live in Toulouse, which is not too far from the Spanish border. I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen next. You know.
Daoud, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy Jazzahead 2024.
Thanks, I will. I might.
Thanks.